Oh na 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 bamba. Oh na 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 bamba. Oh na 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 bamba. Oh na 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 big it up. Oh na 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 big it up. Oh na 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 bamba.
Welcome to Home and Away Jamaica TV. My name is Jermaine Williamson. I'm a valuation surveyor, and today we'll be talking about factors that will preserve and maintain the value of your property. So, without further ado, let's delve into this exciting program. Today, we're going to focus on property and property valuation. How does one improve or preserve the value of your property over time? And in doing that, I'm going to look at it from two sides. We're going to look at the external elements and we're going to look at the internal elements. Pretty much it's what you have control over versus what you do not have control over. And that is the reality with property. Sometimes the things that affects your property, you don't have any control over it. So let us start with the internal factors. So, as most people would be aware, the aesthetics, the appearance of a property does a lot for it. So property is similar to most other real or physical assets where it requires maintenance over time to remain functional and to keep the physical elements in good condition. So the condition of a building, and when I say the condition, we're talking about the overall condition of a building, is important. Generally, the life of a building is 60 to 70 years. There are different elements of the construction, and not all those components of the building will hold up for 60 to 70 years. So it is required of the owner or the occupant or the caretaker to update aspects of the property over time. So what are some of the biggest selling points for a property? Remember, in a previous episode, I would have explained market value and how market value works. For ease of reference, I'm going to repeat that value is based on price. Price is based on demand and supply. What are the factors that would persuade someone to purchase the property? And most times, we're making the linkages now. Most times, when somebody walks into a property, their focus is on the kitchen, the bathroom, the flooring, the ceiling, whatever is visible to the eyes. So you want to keep particularly your kitchen and your bathrooms updated. We have moved in terms of building technology over the years to through different architectural style. I know these days we're now focused on what we call modern design, where the buildings are more rectangular and sharp edges and nice facial designs and such. And this is important because people purchase with their eyes. So the physical elements of the building, you want to keep them current and in good condition. Energy saving is a big selling point as well. So you want to take full advantage of solar powered systems, solar water heater, solar panels for electricity generation, and make full use of natural lighting. And these will reduce the operating cost of a building. So if you're able to cut your maintenance expense for a property, then you could use that saving to keep the property updated and current. So pretty much in a nutshell, you wanna invest in renewable energy, and so far we have spoken about the bathroom, kitchen, and the general aesthetics of the building. Another thing that has evolved over time is the flow of buildings. In Jamaican architecture, we have seen massive changes over time where a property, the flow and layout, there was a time when you walk from one bedroom to a next bedroom, and that is now obsolete. So we were avoiding obsolescence and we're eliminating obsolescence. So the flow of the building is very important, and that's a major selling point. So we're now at a point where most new constructions have ensuite bathrooms for bedrooms. So you have an ensuite keen to how you'd want the property to function. So the flow of building, we have a lot of open plan spaces in building now to allow for natural lighting and airflow and such. So these things are critical to the preservation of the property value. So it will require over time, not just the updating of finishes, but to take a look at the flow of the building and to keep that current as possible. So that most of what I have mentioned already is for the interior of the property. Let's talk about some things that are external to the property, but not the external factors. We're still on the property, things that you have control over. Fencing is a very important addition, and fencing will add value to your property because in Jamaica, anything that enhances security is a positive factor. So there are some very elaborate fences that you can think of. What is important with the fence is the purpose of the fence. So the fence is to increase the security of your property. It being attractive and all is a plus, but you have to be careful with how you spend on the fence because fencing can be very expensive and you might overexpend and put yourself in a situation where what the fence cost you cannot be recovered in the value of the property when you are to do a valuation. So fencing is important. Landscaping is also important. As mentioned before, people will shop with their eyes. And one of the first things you will see is the landscaping. You pull up to a property, you see the fencing, you see the landscaping, and you see the building is nicely painted and such, or vice versa, the building is not nicely painted. Whichever it is, you're going the appearance of the building, the external appearance of the building will indicate or will persuade you to want to go inside that building. So, nice and short, in preserving the property, you want to focus on security, which is the last thing I mentioned, aesthetics. You want to take full advantage of renewables, solar energy, electricity generation, water heater, and such. The flow of the building. You want to keep your bathrooms and your kitchen updated. What else did I mention? And that's pretty much it in a nutshell for the property itself. Now, let us shift gear a little and speak about what are the external factors external to the property that has an influence on the value that you may or may not have control over. So the location of a property is not just the physical location of your property. You're looking at the entire area where the property is located in the neighborhood, the community. And there was a time when citizen association was very popular. These days we have a lot of gated communities, and you have strata associations, you have housing associations and such. And it is very important that owners, persons with interest in property, in a particular location, to be active in these groups, because there's a saying that there's nothing that adds value to your property than a good neighbor. And that is very true, because what your neighbor does on their property can affect the value of your property. And neighbor doesn't mean your immediate neighbor. So observance of the restrictive covenants is important. So everybody should get familiar with the land, with the registered title for their property. Look at what can be done, what should not be done, and this will be a checklist for not just you but the entire community. And for you to be able to enforce any of these, it is best to be done through a citizen association, a strata association, a housing association, whatever it is that exists. So it is important for owners to get involved in the management of their community. That is very important. So not because I have a lovely fence and I have a lovely property, I'm going to confine myself to this property, and I'm not going to care about what happens external to mine. So, this is one of the external factors that you can actually have some amount of control. So you will find that there are communities in Jamaica which have vibrant citizens association and strata association, and it is evident in the overall maintenance and upkeep of the community. So you want to be in that location, and you want to own a property in that location, I should say, because that will strengthen the value of your property and allow your property to increase in value. There are other stuff that are external to the property that you may not have control over. The community could be located within proximity to some unorganized development, and there's a flare up in violence, and that flare up becomes frequent, or however frequent it is affecting buying decisions. And if people are not attracted to your community, then it will affect the value of your property, because value is based on demand and supply. If there is greater demand than supply, the value will appreciate. If there is greater supply than demand, it works in the inverse. So in order to keep your community as attractive as possible, you want to do everything in your power to preserve the community. But there are, as we have mentioned, there are things that you just do not have control over those stuff. Proximity to violent communities is one of such thing. There could be infrastructure development, and this could be a positive, as can be seen now in St. Thomas, where there's a new highway being constructed to reduce the travel time out to St. Thomas. There is a lot of speculation, and the market is just getting very vibrant on that side, because people are now seeing the potential. They are seeing that I could own something in St. Thomas, and it takes me 30 minutes from Kingston to get home back and forth. And so infrastructure development, which you have no control over, it can add value to your property. It can work in the reverse as well, where, but this may not affect residential properties to that effect, where the highway could bypass your property if you're keen on through traffic and such, and the highway takes the traffic beyond your property, and you have lost that visibility. So it could work against you as well. So pretty much there is internal, external factors, and you want to take full control over what you have control of. and you have control over what is done in your community and what is done on your property. So with that being said, I'm Jermaine Williamson, your valuer. This is Home and Away Jamaica TV show. Take care, and we'll speak sometime in the future.
Oh, na 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 na. Bamba. Oh, na 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 na.